Coming up in this Fincast, will the Peacemaker allow me to add fish to an aquarium that includes the dreaded and territorial damselfish? All right, so here we go. We got this box in the mail from Melev's Reef, and do a little unboxing here. Okay, go. There you go. All right, so I sent the dimensions for my aquarium from here to here, Melev's Reef, and he sent this back custom made for this fish tank, and it should fit right there. And look at that, perfect. I mean, almost zero wiggle room. I'd say that's in less than a 1/16 of an inch. All right, so I got to tell you, I haven't put any fish in here for months and months and months. Occasionally, I would add one. They'd last for a little while, but then they would mysteriously disappear. I'm not sure what that's all about. I know the water parameters are good, and I think it's aggression from the other fish at the end of the day. So the idea here is to use this Peacemaker that Melev has come up with, and let's see if it doesn't work. Haven't added any fish in a long time. I've been taking a lot of vacations. I've had some time away because of work, different types of things. So it hasn't been a great time to spend extra time with the fish tank, but I've got a little bit of a window here, and so I'm going to try and add several all at once and see how that goes. Pretty excited about it, actually. All right, Dougal's helping me. There goes the wrasse. Here comes the sailfin tang. All right, and they've been acclimating. There's the wrasse, all right. Come on, buddy. Come on, there you go. All right. There you go, Dougal, what have I got? And we'll put the sailfin tang in the Peacekeeper. There we go. Take the scopas tang. Him in there. Now I can feed them directly in here. They'll have all the water flow from the fish tank, and we're going to keep them in there for at least a week so the other fish can get used to seeing them and they can get used to the other fish. And then the idea is that when we release them, everybody plays well together. Normally I wouldn't expect a fish brand new introduced to the aquarium like this to eat, but I'm just going to give it a try. So give them a couple of extreme pellets. See if they eat. That would be a yes. The sailfin is eating them. And you can see that they smell it. The scopas just ate a pellet. So far, it appears to be working. At this point, I'm super happy with the way everything is going. That Peacemaker comes in the mail, it fits perfectly. The fish are eating inside of it. They seem healthy. They're all colored up beautifully. And so the next morning, I come downstairs and the sailfin is dead. There's not a mark on it. It's just dead. I do not fault the Peacemaker for this. Something happened with that fish. It had already been quarantined. It was eating, as you saw, but as far as I know, there's no explanation for what happened with that fish. So I waited about 2 weeks before releasing the fish. I wanted them to get good and acclimated. I wanted everybody to get used to each other. And honestly, the biggest concern that I have in the tank is the 4 lemon damselfish, which went in there when they were less than an inch long. They're captive bred, and they had not been super aggressive, but as they've gotten older, they've become territorial. They're not aggressive towards any of the fish currently in the tank, but I knew that if I was going to have an issue with the release of these new fish, it was probably going to come from these little demons. And everybody knows how aggressive that damselfish can be. I can remember talking to a friend who owned an aquarium shop. He wouldn't even stock damselfish of any variety. But these are a species that are typically less aggressive, but I was still worried. Also, of course, you always worry about a tang being aggressive or mean toward another tang, and then the same thing with the wrasses, because a lot of species will get along fine with other fish, but they won't get along well with their own species. So I wanted to make sure that the 4-line wrasse that I had in the tank wouldn't be aggressive towards the bluehead, and that the scopas tang would be safe from the yellow tang and the hippo tang. So after 2 weeks, all 3 fish are looking good. I'm cautiously optimistic. The bluehead wrasse is looking the strongest. It had been eating the most in the Peacemaker, and there was some initial interest from the damsels, but it took no time for this fish to establish itself and did fine with the damsels. Then the scopas tang. Now the scopas tang, like any tang, can protect itself with the barbs there right in front of its tail. There was no attack, no interest from the other tangs. That was great. The wrasses were, the damselfish were giving it a little bit of trouble, but again, it was fine after just a little bit, and I even have video of it eating and doing very well within about a day. Now that coral beauty angelfish was not welcomed. The damsels went after that fish in a big way. They started attacking it almost immediately, and there was no way that fish was going to survive in the aquarium for even maybe a couple of hours. So I don't know whether it's because of its body shape, because its swimming habits take it into areas that the damselfish felt that they owned. I don't know what it was. But after less than half an hour, it was hiding near the surface to the point where all I had to do was reach in, I scooped it out, and I put it back inside the Peacemaker. So after about a week in the Peacemaker, the Coral Beauty's fins healed, it continued eating, and so then I tried the Peacemaker again in a smaller aquarium, which is in my office, which is home to a pair of clownfish and a bunch of inverts. And thankfully, that worked. In the meantime, the scopas tang, which had been doing fine, just disappears from the 180 reef. It's just gone. I got up one morning and walked into the room, and there's no sign of that tang, and there never has been. I have no idea what happened to it. It just plain disappeared. Its color was good. It was eating. There's no disease in the tank. All the other fish are healthy. It's just gone. And again, I don't hold the Peacemaker accountable for that, because the point of the Peacemaker is to help get the fish established, and I would argue that it was established. It was in there for a week, and there was no aggression toward it. So something else is going on in that aquarium, and I'm not sure what it is, but I don't think it's the Peacemaker's fault. So what's my takeaway from this? I'm going to say the Peacemaker works, but it's not a miracle worker, and it would take a miracle to try and get fish acclimated with those damsels. The blue-headed wrasse, I think, was just able to defend itself. It's fast enough, it's big enough, and that was okay. I would also say that it worked with respect to the scopas tang, because the tang was established in the tank, and we don't know if it was fish aggression or what led to its demise. As you heard me say, it just disappeared. But the fact is I was able to get it in the tank. It was able to use its defense system, which is that little barb right at the right in front of its tail, and it was able to kind of stay ahead of the situation with the damsels until it disappeared. And the angelfish, I don't think it ever had a chance. I just don't think it ever had a chance. But then I used the Peacemaker and put the angel in the other aquarium with an aggressive matched pair of clownfish, and we had no trouble there. So that seemed to work okay. So the Peacemaker worked there. And I should mention that angelfish is doing great in its second home. I can look right over there right now and watch it swimming around. It's very happy, it's very well acclimated, and it's now a part of that aquarium. I'm going to be using the Peacemaker pretty much anytime I introduce fish from this point forward, and I'm kind of looking forward to giving it a test. And this might be just as much of a test as the damsels when I work with some of my African cichlids on the freshwater side. So I'll be curious to see how that works with African cichlids. But from this point forward, I think this is a great way to acclimate fish, get everybody used to each other in the aquarium, and I will continue to use the Peacemaker. So I think that is definitely a win for this ideology, whatever you want to call it, gizmo. But now I'm wondering, what should I do with those damselfish? Because they really are very interesting to watch. They are active, they're in and out of the rocks all the time. They've not shown any aggression towards the other fish that are already in the tank. So what do I do with the damselfish? Do I keep them or do I take them out? And if I take them out, how do I get them out of there without breaking down the whole tank? Because it'll be just about impossible. I'd appreciate your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Fincast.